Hey, so this is James Broomer here, doing my understanding your communication activity. So some of the things that I was just going to touch on a little bit, or some of the questions that I thought about were, in terms of communicating, listening, understanding. What is something you wish your friends and/or significant others better understood, or had better understood about you? Tell us a story. What happened? What did you learn from it about yourself and about others? Okay, so a lot of times I feel like potential. I tell my girlfriend that she's listening to me, but she's not hearing me. Or so sometimes I feel like, and she probably feels maybe the same way. It's just in relationships, there's always issues with communication, and how well you communicate with each other typically determines a lot of how successful your relationship is. So I feel like we do a pretty good job of communicating with each other, but so one particular instance that my girlfriend and I always tend to argue or things like that about is not argue but disagree on is our Sunday activities. So I prefer Sundays to not do anything. I prefer to get my food ready for the week, whether it's shopping is about the extent of what I want to do if I go anywhere. So I like to get my house clean. I like to do laundry, and I like to basically just relax. Watch some TV shows. Generally things like that. So, and it always seems like she's scheduling things with her parents or with her friends, and she wants me to go to those, or or it's like we have to do this, or so. I guess that's a little bit thing, and we've worked through that, and we're working on it. Because to her, she doesn't understand why I don't want to do anything Sunday. And so, it's just something that we're working on, and we're getting better at communicating with each other about it all the time. So the next thing I want to discuss is, the last chapter was read in the class was chapter 4. Tell us something about your reading and what you found insightful. Why? So I might have gone off on a little bit of a tangent on this one, but there is a respect your list. Well, chapter 4. It was respect your listeners' values. And this is funny because without getting political or without doing anything like that, I'd say in this day and age, it just seems like everybody is either doesn't really care at all what they say, or they care too much, and it's kind of like finding a middle ground. Like, I don't want to offend anyone. I also believe that everyone has the right to live their life the way they want to. I don't think that we should judge or criticize people based on who they are or what they are, or anything like that. So I think there's a fine line of there's a fine line, and there's a point of being too sensitive. I see some of these things, and it's like, come on now, what? Come on, really? Like you're that sensitive over something that was said, like there, or calling up all these past TV shows of, oh, that was insensitive. There, it's just a fine line, and it's such a gray area that I think if you're nice, if you're kind to people and you respect people for who they are, and judge people based on their character, then you're going to be just fine. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that one. And respecting your listeners' values kind of falls right into that. Okay. And the last one I'm going to discuss was the best thing about social media. What is worst thing? How do you see social media evolving over the next 5 years? Okay. So, the best thing about social media for me is I'm able to keep track of my family. I have 4 sisters. They live, only one of them lives around me. The other 3 live far away. I have 12 nieces and nephews, so I'm able to watch them grow up from afar, and keep up on their lives, keep up on their sports, keep up on all their music, their shows, all the things that they're doing, and I'm seeing pictures and videos and all these great things that I wouldn't be seeing as often if social media wasn't there. So that's something that I definitely like, as well as my cousin. I have a very large family. I have On my mom's side, I have 26 first cousins. So typically most of them have social media, so I'm able to follow along with their lives and their significant others and their kids, and I would definitely not be able to do that without it. So that's the best thing for sure. The worst thing is gosh, man, the political post and like the high school friends that are just like, it's like you tune in to one and it's like Trump did something amazing. You tune in the other one, it's like Trump's a freaking idiot. It's like pick it, and then they argue, and it's like, and then they, you don't want to like not add your friends from high school or the people you knew because you don't want to be that guy or the a hole. But gosh, it's so annoying, man. Keep the politicalness off social media. Just use it to share your life events and keep a journal of what you're doing or your families or your pictures. Don't get that political shit off there. It drives me nuts. And how do I see it evolving? So as we saw with Mark Zuckerberg and the whole congressional thing, I thought that by the way, if you haven't watched some of this, watch some of the questions they ask him, and it actually just shows how little knowledge they have of social media and how it functions. It's actually quite humorous, some of the questions they ask. I do not agree with everything that Google's doing, or not Google, Facebook's doing. I think a lot of the things are actually really scary. Um, but yeah, I see it evolving to where I already see it where they're removing posts and of and I kind of I wish freedom of speech is very, very, very important in this country, but I see that them kind of dialing back on the freedom of speech because of the culture that we live in with everybody being a little bit sensitive. And so I see that happening. I see that evolving, and I see the early stages of that already happening. So that's where I think it's probably going to go. Anyway, those are the questions that I felt I would discuss, and this video is over. Thank you.